Let us prepare for today's talk by first composing oneself. Close your eyes for a moment and try and enter into the deeper consciousness. Put all your consciousness and concentration in the center of your chest. Concentrate deep within and try and enter your inner consciousness so that when you listen to the words, you can practice and you can understand stepping back into consciousnesses from a deeper point of view. Today, we will take up two important exercises. The first is a conceptual understanding of what is consciousness and the two consciousnesses that all of us have within us. The outer consciousness and the inner consciousness, and how to establish oneself in the inner consciousness. The second exercise that will follow will be the exercise on stepping back. How to step back, what is stepping back, why is it useful, and some practice on that. So to begin with, let us understand what are the two consciousnesses that we have. The mother says, there are now two consciousnesses in you, the new one that is growing and what is left of the old. The old has something in it which is the habit of the human vital, the tendency to keep any touch of grief, anger, vexation, etc., or any kind of emotional, vital, or mental disturbance, to make much of it, to prolong it, not to wish to let it go, to return to it when the cause of disturbance is past and could be forgotten. Always to remember this disturbance, vexation, and bring it up when it can. So this dwelling on the things that irritate us, the things that annoy us, the little disturbances that we face, our desires, our vexations, this habit of the mind to dwell on it is the habit of the outer consciousness. This is a common trait of human nature and a quite customary movement. The new consciousness, on the other hand, does not want these things, and when they happen, throws them off as quickly as possible. When the new consciousness is fully grown and established, then the disturbances of the mind, of the vital, of the physical being will be thrown away as quickly as possible. These disturbances can then be rejected, and even when there are things outside of you, people who do things that are upsetting, that cause anger in you, that you get vexed about, that annoy you, there will be no response of grief, anger, vexation in your nature, in your response. Now, how do you do that? How do we always practice? How do we try to get back into our true consciousness? That is the question. For that, there is a very simple exercise suggested by the mother called stepping back. So while I read this passage, from the mother, it may be useful for you to close your eyes, again concentrate within, and try and practice this. Listen to the words from your own deeper inner consciousness. She says, most of you live on the surface of your being, exposed to the touch of external influences. You live almost projected, as it were, outside your own body. And when you meet some unpleasant being, similarly projected, you get upset. The whole trouble arises out of your not being accustomed to stepping back. You must always step back into yourself. Learn to go deep within yourself. Step back and you will be safe. Do not lend yourself to the superficial forces which move in the outside world. Even if you are in a hurry to do something, step back for a while and you will discover to your surprise how much sooner and with what greater success your work can be done. If someone is angry with you, do not be caught in his vibrations, but simply step back and his anger will vanish. Always keep your peace. Resist all temptation to lose it. Never decide anything without stepping back. Never speak a word without stepping back. Never throw yourself into action without stepping back. All that belongs to the ordinary world is impermanent and fugitive. What is lasting, eternal, immortal, and infinite, that indeed is worth living for. When you get the sense of the relativity of things, the sense that things do not always last forever, that things keep moving on, life moves on, then whatever happens, you can step back and look. You can remain quiet and call on the divine force and wait for an answer. That is very important, to call the divine grace, to call the divine force and wait for the answer. You will surely get a clear indication of what to do or what to say or to deeply understand what is happening. Then you will know exactly what to do. Remember, therefore, that you cannot receive the answer before you are very peaceful. Practice that inner peace. Make at least a small beginning and go on in your practice until it becomes a habit in you. A habit to dwell in your inner consciousness. A habit to reject the outer consciousness. A habit to call the divine presence, the divine grace, to help you. A habit not to lend yourself to the superficial forces. That is what stepping back is.